Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show. I'm Ricky O. That's Chris Kostopoulos. That's Maddie the Lip. We're year 15, and welcome to the show tonight, guys. Let's get right off the bat. Chris Kostopoulos, the main man of the show right here, 15 years and counting, 15-year NHL veteran, correct? It was 15. 479 games played, 827 minutes in penalties, 153 minutes in points. 13 illegal goals with an illegal stick, and he's our super host right now. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Maddie. Chris, round one of the playoffs. Who was the biggest shock to you?
Well, think about it. I think Edmonton, getting beat by Anaheim. Nobody had Anaheim to start the season, but as the season went on, you could see Anaheim coming, and you were thinking that Edmonton would, pull their usual act and get through the first round and maybe slip their way into the conference finals again. But I think Edmonton's probably the biggest shock. And Anaheim right now is the youngest team, I think, in the league right now, besides Montreal. I mean, when you think about it, that's my choice. Edmonton's the shock for getting beat and Anaheim for winning.
Maddie, what's up? Who do you think right now?
It's interesting because there's so many great playoff series that went on this past round. I really got to just point to the playoff format. It's just so atrocious that we had that. But I guess I got to say the biggest shock was Philadelphia. I mean, the young team versus a Pittsburgh team that was a veteran team. I felt like Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, they would do one. This was kind of their last hurrah. They had a good team. They were playing an inexperienced Flyers team. They really should have capitalized on it. Got down 3-0, made it a series, but obviously too little, too late. So yeah, Pittsburgh was very disappointing for me. And then Philadelphia were able to win that series, and now you see they're an 8th seed in the East. And you know what? Honestly, they're completely overmatched with Carolina, but that's just
I disagree with you on that. Now, I had the Flyers in the first round. I was the only one of the three of us that took Philadelphia, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. But I'm also going to say this. Last game could have went either way. I don't want to say they're completely outmatched. I think the young, hungry Flyers have looked very respectable in the first two games. Carolina got a good bounce. Carolina is a better team, 100%. But the Flyers are a year or two away from being a very, very dominant young, talented hockey team, and I think they're showing the fruits of being bad for as many years as they were. Same thing with Anaheim. Anaheim is 100% rejoicing in the fruits of sucking for 15 years and getting high draft choices, and just walked into number 2 pick overall again, but we'll get into that in a couple minutes.
Yeah, but Ricky,
I have to say,
let me cut you guys off there, though. Wouldn't you say that a team that was in the Stanley Cup playoffs 2 years in a row is more of a shock than Pittsburgh?
Oh, I think Edmonton was the biggest shock. I was just saying Philadelphia.
Stanley Cup all these years, and all of a sudden they're gone to an Anaheim team that I will admit, Maddie was talking about them all year, about like the young guys playing well. It's the perfect. They have the perfect blend in Anaheim right now. They got a bunch of young guys that they count on, not backups to the established. That's what they have in Anaheim right now. And the established guys are tried and true. And to beat Edmonton, who's gone to the Stanley Cup, and comparing to Pittsburgh, no, Pittsburgh was old and dogged the last 4 or 5 years, guys. They hadn't made the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's the.
I think it's very interesting that Connor McDavid came out and stated we were an average team all year. I mean, there's dissension. There's dissension in Edmonton, and I called this a couple months ago. I said,
and you know who's sliding right in? You hear about who's number 1 in the trade target for Connor McDavid?
San Jose
Sharks. They're floating that Russian kid, that prospect that they have. I guess he played a couple of games, and they're floating number 2
is part of that deal.
Yep.
Edmonton will never win as long as you got that Sif on the defense there, Evan Bouchard. Okay. Like he was -6 or 7 in the series. Think about it. He's supposed to be one of the gifted defensemen in the league.
Offensive.
He's a great
offensive
player, but he has no clue how to play defense. So why have him on your team?
Katya, let me ask you a question. Do you feel Edmonton was also out-coached in that series? Because I believe they were out-coached.
Well, yeah. Joel Quenneville's got the pedigree, Ricky. Look what he's done. He started out with Mark Crawford, won a Stanley Cup in Colorado way back when Joe Sakic played. This guy's coached from the American Hockey League all the way to assistant coach, and he's won 3 Stanley Cups with Chicago. And I remind you guys what I said about him. He's the only coach that I ever seen in his first year that he won a Stanley Cup who pulled his goaltender not once, but twice during the playoffs. In the middle of a game, and they came back to win. First of all, you got to have balls as big as the building to pull a goaltender in the playoffs like that, and your team rebounding to win those games. Joel Quenneville's got the experience, Ricky, and he's got the stats, as Matty would say. 3 Stanley Cups, 4 Stanley Cups if you want to include Colorado.
I mean, listen, I think there was out coaching for sure in that series. I think a lot of things went wrong in that series, but I think the biggest what sealed Edmonton's fate was when they traded for Jarry, because let's be honest. You look at Skinner, you look at Jarry, the numbers aren't that far off. To be 100%
identical goaltenders. There was no improvement.
And on top of getting the Skinner and Jarry has a much bigger contract, more term. You gave him a second-round pick. You gave up Brett Kulak, who turned into Sam Girard. So all in all, Edmonton stuck the nail in the coffin right there, putting all their eggs in one basket, thinking that Jarry was head and shoulders better than Skinner, and he wasn't. And they traded Kulak, who was a solid defenseman for them, not a top pair, but you could put him on the second or third pair right there. So not only did they get their goaltending worse, they made their defense work. Yeah, they added Connor Murphy, but you could have had Kulak and Murphy. You could have had a solid defense. I mean, and Ingram wasn't great either.
Listen,
so all in all,
I said the minute that Ingram went on waivers, I called that he was going to be an Edmonton Oiler. I also called before the playoff starts that Ingram was going to be the number 1 because of how bad Jarry was playing. But here's what's interesting to me, right? I think McDavid gave them, we had a very long discussion on the show. He gave them a hometown discount. He gave them a contract to expand the cap situation there and get a goalie. He has to regret that right now when the goalie became Jarry and nothing better.
Well, the craziest stat, Ricky, you see this. They're paying $8 million for Jarry and what's his name that they bought out. They're paying $8 million for a goaltender. They don't even have a goaltender paying Jarry and money that they spent on the buyout. I mean, how does 11.5 Igor Shesterkin look right now?
Well, okay. Well, this is going to bring
how long is it going to take somebody in Edmonton to finally understand that defense wins in playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay, the Edmonton Oilers rocked during my time because they could put up 8 goals a game and their goaltender would let in 1 less. Those are his words, Grant Fures. He told me that. I don't care.
You score 8, I'll give up 7.
That's it. I'll make sure that the other guy doesn't, let in less than me. But Edmonton's had all these years and all these general managers and all these coaches during Connor McDavid's time there. And now you got Jeff Jackson in charge, a former teammate of mine in Toronto. What are they going to learn? Enough with the high-powered offense and get reeling. Find a goaltender and find some real defenser because Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard are not the answer. I don't care what anybody tells me. They're not the answer. Would they be the answer on another team? Maybe, but not on this team.
We got to remember when Edmonton was winning Stanley Cups, you had Steve Smith, Kevin Lowe, Fogelin, Charlie Huddy, Marty McSorley at times back there. Craig Muni, you're 100% right.
A guy that couldn't play in Toronto, by the way. I don't know if I told you that. When I was partnered with him one time in Toronto, we sent him back down to Newmarket. He ends up in Edmonton winning Stanley Cups. You figure it out.
Yeah. Well, listen, you brought something up a little bit earlier. Maddie was talking about the cap. Katsu, you broke the news to me this week. The cap is going up just under $10 million.
Well, no, it's actually a little bit more than that. I was wrong when I told you. Last year's cap was the low point. The low middle you have to have a minimum of was 70.9 million, and this up to 76.9 was the highest. Now it's up to 95 to 104 coming up. So there's money to spend for teams that got cap space. Now, who's got the cap space? I don't know. I'm not that familiar with.
Well, I'll let you in on one team that's got a crap ton of cap space, and I think I'm representing them pretty well behind us.
They do.
Now, we have a ton of cap space, and there's no one to spend
And
it
nobody
on.
to
That's the
sign.
problem.
Alex Tuck. That's it.
Okay, but listen,
He
let me
ain't
get to
coming
my
here.
next point. This draft, I'm going to skip the draft results for a couple minutes, but I'm going to say this. This summer has the potential to become one of the greatest summers in fantasy hockey general manager booking in the history of sports. Because you have to realistically think Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk, and Connor McDavid, 2 out of the 3 of them, if not all 3, could have new homes by the time we start
Jason
the season
Robertson,
next
too.
year. And Jason Robertson, of course, but he's
Yeah.
not on that
if
level.
the Leafs draft McKenna,
He's
I could
pretty
see
good.
that happening right away. I could see
Jason
that
Robertson's
happening
probably
right away.
better than Brady Tkachuk. Right.
What's that?
I said Jason Robertson's probably better than Brady Tkachuk. Offensively.
And Jason Robinson's a great scorer. That's somebody the Rangers should look at.
Yeah.
Great scorer.
Either one of them I
But he
would take in a
he
heartbeat.
doesn't play a hard game. He doesn't back check. He doesn't do anything else but score.
But Katsi, you were going to make a point about McKenna. What was your point on McKenna, real
Well,
fast?
I think if the Leafs draft McKenna, like all of a sudden he's number 1 again. Remember during the year, Matty was saying that he's kind of dropped a little bit, but he's still number 1 ranked by everybody. And if the Leafs draft him number 1, maybe it's time for Matthews to go. And maybe it'll happen during the draft, Ricky.
Interesting fact that I heard today on Canadian Sports Radio, because, I'm a loser and I find them on satellite, was the Toronto Maple Leaf brass, basically an insider said, if you give up Matthews, the next person out the door will be Mariner because they're best friends and they're connected at the hip, and he will not want to be back. So it would become a complete rebuild if they lose Austin Matthews, no matter who they get back in return, which was very interesting.
You're talking about Nylander, right?
I'm sorry, Nylander. I apologize. Nylander, yes. So that's an interesting fact because if he goes.
That's not a bad thing, Ricky. That's not a bad thing because they've had their shot.
Well, I was just going to say, if you look at it, that would break down the potential dynasty team of the last 5 years that has done absolutely nothing. It would become a complete rebuild for a new general manager. And let's get to the new general manager situation, Katsi, because I know you wanted to touch on that.
Yeah,
the hiring this week in Toronto. What do you think of it?
I'm actually kind of happy that they went in within the Leaf organization to bring somebody who was a Toronto Maple Leaf for most of his career, Matt Sundin. But I'm not too impressed with this John Chayka guy. There's a lot of bad baggage that goes along with this guy. He was caught tampering way back when he was in Arizona / Phoenix. I'm not sure exactly what the tampering was, but they said he's not guilty of it, but there was an accusation. And
he was guilty enough to lose the first round pick for his team, so something was done.
Yeah, but he's also a guy that jumped on the wagon in 2010 with his sister and invented some stat line analytics thing before he got into management. And then the rumor is, and the story goes, like from Steve Simmons up in Toronto, who I can't stand. He can go fuck himself. But Steve Simmons is
go
right
fuck
on
yourself, Steve Simmons.
He's right on this one about Chayka putting his stat mind in his office. He had 6 computer screens set up, acting like, I'm such an analytics guy. Well, when he got bounced out of Arizona because of an argument with management, the new team coming in didn't understand all these computers. So one was working and they called the IT guy, and the IT guy came upstairs. Well, what's going on with these other 5? Nothing. They weren't even plugged in. They weren't even working. It was all fraud and phony shit. And Steve Simmons, much to my chagrin, because I can't stand him, called them out on this in the conference.
Katsi, is this the only city in the entire NHL where that could take place? Because I'll be honest with you, Chris Drury doesn't even face the media in New York. He's got Molly Walker, who they feed because of the
Rick, you have no choice. I tried to tell you guys this a couple times. The bottom line is, when it comes to pro sports, I don't think there's anything bigger than following the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leafs, because we don't have the great baseball teams. We don't have the great NFL football teams. And we don't have the great NBA teams. Okay, you have the Raptors, you have the Blue Jays, but they're second and third fiddle in Toronto. Okay, we're here in New York. We're a big city. You got the Yankees. Every time I open a paper up or online, it's Yankee news. It doesn't matter if the Stanley Cup's on. It's Yankee news. You know what I mean? So Steve Simmons has been around a long time, and he didn't like me, and I didn't like him. But I got to agree with him on this one. They reached on Chaika. They reached on him big time. So we'll have to see how it works out. They got lucky with the first pick, though, Ricky, so you want to slide right into that? Go ahead.
Well, Maddie, let me ask you a question, because you and I both texted at the exact same time when we wrote fix to each other.
You wrote fixed. You wrote fixed. I'm not.
It's just absolutely astonishing to me that of all teams, that a Canadian team got the first overall pick this year, and it wasn't Vancouver. The Rangers slide down in the draft, which is fine with me because they're going to pick second anyway, and I'm going to get into that story in a minute or two.
I don't buy that.
Toronto is at a cross point, Matt, and I want to get your opinion on this question. So let me finish this, and then I want your response. Do they keep Austin Matthews and Nylander and McKenna and try to rebuild the dynasty, or do you see the new GM coming in with his analytics crap, scrapping it down to the bone, getting a haul back for Matthews, and starting around McKenna? Go ahead, Matty.
Well, listen, I think Gavin McKenna is not Bedard. He's not Celebrini. He's not Schaefer. I know Schaefer's the defenseman, but he's not that top-tier Connor McDavid-esque number one overall pick. He's more of a Lafreniere, a Slavkovsky, who should be a good player. Like Lafreniere's blossoming now that he's gotten top-line minutes. And you look at Slavkovsky over in Montreal, he's been really, really good this season. So McKenna right now, as currently constructed, coming into Toronto, is in a perfect spot to be successful. You got Nyes, you got Nylander, you got Matthews, you got John Tavares. Okay, he can slide into the top six and not have the pressure on him. He can play wing. So there is something to keep Matthews there, that you could get a potential top six winger. I know he's going to be a rookie, but at an entry-level deal under $1 million, we talk about the cap going up. Toronto, in my opinion, last year, when the playoffs ended, they were the second best team in the league. They were better than Edmonton. They took Florida to 7 games. It could have went either way. And they had a really solid roster. Now, of course, they lose Marner. They try to replace him with, maybe more depth. They need to tweak that roster a little bit for sure, add some defense and whatnot. But there's no reason why Toronto can't bounce back right into the playoffs. The talent is there. Now, the question is the relationship fractured with Matthews? I think it is, especially after the Olympics. Ricky, you talk about ad nauseum, 80,000 signatures from Toronto fans getting him stripped of the captaincy. So if the relationship's fractured, then he's out the door. But in terms of hockey fit, you add McKenna into this team that's already a dangerous top six, and this is probably one of the best places for him, to be 100% honest with you.
I think out of the 3 players, the most realistic that I've mentioned is Matthews to get traded. I also think the haul for Matthews would be tremendous. And I also think that people will not be able to afford a Connor McDavid trade. I think they'd rather wait for him to become a free agent and pay him money than give up half their team. But I think Toronto, I'm just using the Rangers as an example, could end up with Adam Fox, Will Cooley, a Berard-type prospect, a first-round pick, and maybe more for Matthews, and instantly just boost them. Never mind the fact that Utah and San Jose were also linked to Toronto and the Detroit Red Wings. Could you just imagine what the San Jose Sharks could put together for either Tkachuk, Matthews, or McDavid? They are the most stacked franchise right now with young, successful hockey players. And now I'm going to get into my prediction. The San Jose Sharks won the second pick overall. The San Jose Sharks need defensemen, right? They have a great forward pool. They're weak in their pool on defense. Here's my theory. If Chris Drury can step in, give up Brandon Schneider, the number 5 pick, and let's say another prospect down the way or another pick, flip-flop the picks. San Jose only goes to 5. They end up with an NHL player with term under great contract and is a decent 5'6" defenseman right now and is only 24 years old. Moves down to 5, picks up another NHL top 5 prospect defenseman, and the Rangers end up picking second, and I think they're going to take Malholtra's kid. That's my theory on the draft. I know Kotze hates prospect talk, but I think the Rangers and the Sharks are perfect trade partners, and I think that the relationship with Drury and Greer is strong enough that the deal is going to be made.
Okay, Ricky, but don't the Rangers have a second pick in the first round?
Yeah, it fell all the way to 20-something.
Okay, but it's still a first-round pick. So there's lots of there's all kinds of machinations they could do with the 5th and the 27th to either move up, move down, whatever. I don't know, make trades, whatever. And that's pretty good stuff to have having 2 picks in the first round, But I don't know. I might have to disagree with Matt a little bit on the Leafs. I look at that team. It's like my second team that I watch, keep an eye on. Their defense stinks, These guys are getting old. O'Reilly's old. McCabe's old. These guys are old. They're not getting any younger. You know what I mean? And you can't name anybody else on that defense other than those guys. You know what I mean? If I was Matthews, honestly, I'd want to get the hell out of there right now. I would. I want to get out there. Bye. That's just my opinion. I'm a Toronto boy. I was not a fan growing up, but I'd want to get out of there if I was him right now.
Listen, Ricky, I got to push back on your San Jose take. I just can't see
Ricky,
that.
Come on, anybody that's a city that's writing signatures to strip you of your captaincy. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
What does that tell you right there with what they think you're worth? It's bullshit, but think about that.
Oh, I agree with you, Kotze, 100%. Maddie, what do you disagree with? Go ahead.
I just can't. I can't see San Jose trading number 2.
I'm not saying they're going to trade number 2.
I said it. I said they are.
No, Ricky said that.
Toronto, period, as a team.
Oh,
they got lots of work to do. There's lots of things to do on that squad.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's not going to be easy.
They could go a multitude of different directions. Toronto, they can rebuild.
That's what I'm trying to say to you, Matty. There's so many options for them, but they got to.
I think with the new GM, they're more likely to rebuild just because he wants to get his guys in there per se. But you can totally see a retool. It depends how the offseason goes. As far as San Jose, I can't see it. Why would you get Schneider, who's a 5'6" defenseman?
Because they're obsessed with him, Maddie. Do you follow hockey? Do you follow the San Jose Sharks?
I do follow. You know I follow. Why wouldn't you?
Well, then why are you asking? Why do they want a guy like Schneider when it's been all over the media for 6 months that they want Schneider?
Yeah, but you know what? They have Edmonton's pick too. That you would take Schneider straight up for Edmonton's pick. 19th overall.
Am I wrong in saying this? No person picked in the first round, other than the first pick, is a guaranteed NHL player.
That's not true.
And we're living proof of that. Lafreniere has taken 7 years to develop.
Even the first pick's not guaranteed. You're right.
I'm saying, especially on defense, Maddie. Especially on defense.
All the more reason that the Rangers should trade number 5. That's what I've been saying.
I think they're going to end up. I'm just saying, and I'm the guy who did not say Utah's going to win a Stanley Cup. I picked the Flyers. I picked the Ducks. I'm telling you, the Rangers are going to make a deal with San Jose at the draft. I'm just telling you it's out there and it's going to happen.
I don't think it'll be for number 2.
I buy into yours a little more than Matt's for this reason only. They were so close this year, San Jose, So close. I don't think they really want to take a guy that's fresh and frosh at 17, 18, 19 years old right away and try to develop him as the season goes on. So there might be that move for Schneider and pick somebody else other than a defenseman, Matty. That's all I'm saying.
Matty, you also realize he's in the same situation.
Well, you got to steady, whether we like Schneider or not, the guy's played 4 or 5 years now, So you know
5 years, 4 coaches.
You know what you're getting with him as a steady Eddie 4th, 5th, 6th defenseman for San Jose if I trade for him. Where I'm going to draft some big hulking guy from North Dakota or some European snowflake and put him in the lineup right away? Please. Not going to happen. You don't just jump into the NHL and play defense right away unless you got speed like Matthew Schaefer.
Maddie, if they keep the pick, who do you think they're taking?
I mean, if the Rangers keep the pick, I think you take the best player available. I like Verhoev. I like him, 6'4", tall, strong guy. but really only tops out to be like a second pair defenseman. He's not that elite defenseman. To be honest with you, I mean, there's nobody you really love. To be honest with you, there's
Keep a name on Tyan Lawrence. He's a center out of BU.
I am not high on him.
I'm not either, but he's from BU, and that scares the living shit out of me.
That's a Chris Drury pick. That is a Chris Drury pick without a doubt.
That scares the living shit out of me. He's only 6 feet tall, and he's a two-way center coming out of college. I don't want to hear two-way center when it comes to this fucking organization.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that this pick is you dropped 2 spots. You were at number 3. You had the third best odds. This screams trade it. Trade it. Okay. You have 2 first-round picks. Take it. If Brady Tkachuk becomes available, if Jason Robertson becomes available, if Auston Matthews becomes available, use that as a cornerstone piece to trade it, to deal it, to get real assets that you can. This Ranger team played really well towards the end of the season. There's no reason to believe that without a real top 6 forward, you can make some moves on defense, and with the right system, you can be a lot better on defense if you put a good defense in place. You can get some depth guys. It's easier to get depth defensemen than elite talent offensively in the top 6. So if you could get
I'd like to see him trade down. If they can't work out a deal to get in the top 4, I'd like to see him trade down to 10, 11, 12 area where there's players like Maddox DeHagness. I'm butchering his name.
Take a project,
He's a 6'4", 18-year-old that weighs 240 pounds. He's got World Junior experience. He puts up a point per game on an average, and he's a monster. Okay, and then you got the other kid, Brock Rogakowski, who's from the Oshawa Generals. He's a point per game player who's 6'7", 240. He's a center. Okay, he's putting up a point per game, and one of his strong spots on the scouting report is skating at 6'7". That's the kind of guy I want to see this team take. A big North American prick who's going to run you over on the way to the net. Look at Philadelphia, right? Look at the Ducks. Look at the teams that are winning right now and are successful. They're huge and they're big and they're running people over. And we don't have that right now.
I did a thing today. Buffalo. Buffalo's average size, 6'1", 205 pounds. Montreal, almost the same. And fortunately for them, some of their best players are the little guys.
Yep.
It's not like when you get little guys that aren't your best players.
But Kati, what opens up the ice for a little guy? Your experience with this. You big son of a guns.
The meat and potato guys, they're the ones that open it up. I mean, that Benson looks like a Hall of Famer right now in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Byram, I told you about Byram. I thought Colorado giving him up early like they did was a mistake. Okay.
You could get a second
time. You look at Montreal. You got Caulfield, you got Suzuki, and you got Lane Hudson. I mean, these guys aren't the biggest guys on earth, but they're 3 of the best players on Montreal. But the rest of Montreal's team is massive.
Right.
There's no small guys there.
Yeah. You got the Wi-Fi brothers.
I want to just point out as a late selection for the Rangers that I'd love to see them get is Ryan Robrek, who's Dylan's little brother. Dylan Robrek, who's a Ranger top prospect down in Hartford. His little brother is currently 6'5", 225 pounds, point per game player again. He's only 17, going to be 18. Massive, massive center.
Where is he projected to be?
He's in between. Drafted? He's in between 20 and 25. But I'm hoping he could.
That's something to trade up.
Let me ask you guys about this center thing, okay? Now that you guys have mentioned centers, I mean, your prospects way better than me because I don't really pay attention. You can ask Paulie over 15 years. I could give 2 shits about prospects because, you'll find out if they can play or they can't play. One of the two. All this talk about how great they are in junior and college means nothing to me. Whose spot are they going to take if you draft a center right now on the Rangers?
Well, I don't think they're going to play. I don't think a kid like that will play for 2 or 3 years.
You're not taking Trocheck. You're not taking Labas. So
I don't think you're going to play for 2 or 3 years. But that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's a lot easier to take
one of those. Is this going to be another one of those where they? Oh, that's another. I don't think we got to talk about Hartford blowing it all up anyhow.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Are they going to go down there and get developed properly or not?
it's a lot easier to go from center and then learn how to and then play wing than it is to take a wing and put him at center.
Oh,
So
really?
I'd rather have.
Did you play the game?
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Yes or no?
Oh, okay. All right.
Am I wrong though?
Center's a lot harder than you think, big boy.
That's what I'm saying. So don't
It's
you
a lot
want to
harder than you think because you
Wouldn't
have to
you rather get
control
6
all
centers?
avenues of the ice.
But I'm saying, wouldn't you rather load up on center
You're
depth?
talking about a two-way center that we had one that I don't know what they got for him, and Brett Howden. We had one.
We didn't get anything. We let him go.
We got
He's a
nothing.
monster now. He's huge. He scores big goals for Vegas, and he's tough.
And he's got a ring already.
You know what I mean? We had one, and we let him go.
Well, Kotze, you brought something up to me that I was going to bring up later in the show, but let's hit it right now because you're fired up. I personally think the biggest story for the New York Rangers offseason is who gets the general manager position and head coaching job in Hartford. The Hartford once proud franchise has missed the playoffs for the third time in 4 years, the second time in 2 years. They came off of having a non-factor in Ken Jernander as a coach for like 15 years, went to Knobloch, who was doing a great job. They lost Knobloch to Edmonton, and the last coaching staff was god-awful. God-awful. There's a developmental project in the New York problem with the Rangers, and I'm very disappointed that my man, Jed the Rocket Ortmeyer, was fired and replaced by Tanner Glass. How do you go to his assistant, who has been part of the organization for 10 years, develop no one, and promote him from within?
Okay,
Why?
You have to back up a little bit on Tanner Glass, okay? First of all, just because you are labeled as a player development, does that mean these guys are actually on the ice individually with these guys? Absolutely not, Ricky. That's got nothing to do with the job. The job is we're gonna keep an eye on everybody that's prospect wise, AHL wise, and like the old days in the East Coast League. Okay, whatever. Tanner Glass is not going to be a problem for me. Okay, because I know him very well and I've talked to him. He understands the game, but he's also assistant guy. Okay, so I don't mind giving him a shot over Jed Ortmeyer. Tanner Glass at least played how many years in the NHL?
I'm a fan of Tanner Glass.
Jed Ortmeyer played like 112 games or less.
Well, career high 5 goals. So he did score 5 goals.
What I'm trying to say here. So it's not so much that just because you're head of player development that you're going to be on the ice every day trying to make this guy better, that guy better, this guy better. It's all about getting the right, like you just said, the right guys to coach in Hartford. And understand that winning a championship is not your goal technically in the AHL. Your goal is to develop the player that the Rangers put down there so they can maybe bring them up. So
Kotze, question.
Your assistant coaches and all these guys in the video room, it's up to them. So you have to hire guys that are smart, not analytics smart, hockey smart.
Kotze, question that only you can answer this question on this poll. Do you believe, like I do, that the fact that the Rangers have had like 6 or 7 head coaches in the last 11 years has affected the developmental system because they have not been able to implement a system that's played in Hartford and comes up to the NHL level? Do you remember the old term plug and play, where you were able to take a guy who might have been a third liner in Hartford and bring him up and put him right on the third line in New York, and he would fit right in the system? When the Hartford Wolfpack in the late 90s was winning Calder Cups and doing really well, guys seemed to just come up and effortlessly fit into the lineup in the position where they were playing in Hartford. That doesn't happen anymore. Every Ranger prospect that comes up gets put on the 4th line and doesn't get a chance to shine. And I blame that on the fact that they have no consistency.
Who was down there in Hartford back then? Was it Nicky?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that answer. I know that
Nicky was in the 90s there in Hartford. Okay. Now,
I know Schoenfeld was the GM for a long time.
Yeah, but he was never there. He was at the Garden all the time. I saw him there. Like, you're the GM. Like, big deal. You're not in Hartford. You don't have a house there. You know what I mean? You're dead on what you said there, Ricky. So you get, let's see, we go from Torts. Who was after Torts? Gallant.
When you start with Tom Rennie and you go to Torts.
Was it Torts first?
Alain Vigneault.
Ready Torts.
Vigneault.
Vigneault.
Dan
Gallant.
Quinn. David Quinn.
Dan-
Quinn, Gallant, and now
Gallant, Laviolette, and
and
then
that in
Sullivan.
the last 15 years.
Yeah.
That's 6-7 different styles of hockey.
Yep.
You're going to ask the older guy each year to change what he knows. This is on the existing team. Then you get development guys who maybe are a year or 2 or 3 away that are going to get things changed down in Hartford every 2-3 years. You're dead on that, Ricky. If you can't decide on a head coach and give him the 5-year grace period, and we're going to play a certain way and develop a certain way, then you're just going to mix everybody's mind up. I mean, I know with Torts, he was a little hard on some of the veterans, okay? He was a hard guy on him. Like he benched, like Paulie D hates him because he benched Gabrick for one game. Oh, too bad. You know what I mean? Too bad. You know what I'm saying? But then you get another guy in, like, say, Quinn, who might have been easy on the older guys. And you're developing these guys in the minors based on what you just said. We're going to try and get you guys to play the way they're playing up there. But then you change the coaching staff again. Then you change it again 2 years later. And then you get into an argument with the GM, and Gerard Gallant says, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You got to have
It's a culture issue.
You got to have
That's
some
the problem.
consistency in your organization when it comes to all things off the ice, coaching, scouting, whatever. You gotta have
Culture.
some consistency.
The word is culture, and the New York
You
Ranger
gotta have some
organization
consistency with it.
does not have it. And you're right. And that's why you're so damn important on questions like this, because you played in the league.
Well, you think, we're like a team like Florida. I mean, before they won, they were getting their consistency all in order because they gave Tampa a hard time there when Tampa was winning Stanley Cups, and they took them to 6 games and stuff like that. And the same thing Tampa did. Oh, by the way, how many Stanley Cups have Tampa won since they got rid of who Stamkos? Oh, I just had to throw that in there.
How many playoff series have they won?
I just had to throw that in there.
Maddie,
Nada.
quick question for you, Maddie. Let's get you in this going right now. Are the Tampa Bay Lightning as a team, are they blowing it up? Because I'm reading Kucherov rumors and everything else right now.
Well, listen, if I'm on that team, right, now Victor Hedman, we can talk about this a little bit, right? You guys know the whole deal with Victor Hedman.
He's having
How
mental issues, and
he took a step back, and I hope he gets all the help that he needs. Mental health is serious, and he has the right to do that and whatnot like that. But in my opinion, you do that in the middle of a game, you leave in a playoff run, then you go to the post-game presser. It's hard to wear the C for a franchise like that. So if I'm those guys in the locker room and you lose to Montreal in a 7-game series where every goal was a 1-goal game, and having a guy like Victor Hedman out there on the ice replacing the worst defenseman that Tampa put out there, whoever you want to say it was, that could honestly be the difference in the series. So a lot of those guys might be thinking like, hey, if this guy would have played, maybe we get past Montreal, then who knows? So I don't know if Kucherov gets traded. He's probably an all-time Tampa Bay Lightning. I can't see that. But, I mean, something's got to change in Tampa. I don't know if it's Cooper. I don't know if it's...
Cooper got a boost today. They said Cooper's going nowhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I'm just saying, something's got to change in Tampa because 3 straight finals appearances, and then, now you're looking at 4 straight first-round exits. So
Pittsburgh, Boston, Tampa Bay, Edmonton. Who blows up the roster completely in the offseason, out of your guys' opinion?
It's got to be Pittsburgh. It's got to be Pittsburgh, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if Pittsburgh really – I mean, I think you have a guy who's a second-year head coach. They have a ton of assets. Crosby is older. Malkin is older. Letang. You could still get a ton for Crosby back, and you already have a ton of draft picks stockpiled up. So Pittsburgh's in a great position. Kyle Dubas has done a fantastic job acquiring young assets. They have a lot of young players.
Do you think Crosby will
well.
ever leave, Kotze? Do you think if they went to him and said, hey, look, we're blowing it up?
No.
I don't think he leaves. I think he loves the city too much.
No. He's got a big mansion about two block and a half from Mario's. He's not going anywhere. I've been.
What about Malkin?
Malkin, he's already talking
He's a
about
free
it.
agent.
Well, he wants to play one more year, so I think they might move. He might let him go.
Where do you think Malkin fits? Who do you think? What contender is a Malkin away from being a serious advancement in their culture and playoff system?
I don't listen.
I think San Jose would love to have him.
Okay, but I look at it this way. How much can you keep paying guys that are 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 years old? Malkin's going to be 40. Okay, but I'm just asking you. These guys are all older. The Latangs and Crosby and Malkin and the Swede there, they're all getting paid big money, and they're all like 38 and 39 years of age.
Well, there's a lot of
Tell me you can't keep doing that and telling me, well, we're just going to add to the team every year. What, till these guys are 45? No, it's not going to work. Not going to work. I just want to get back to the Tampa thing, though, Matt. That whole series against Montreal, you don't have Hedman, who, mind you, is 36 years old now, by the way. Just want to let you know. McDonough looked slow as hell for the first time in his career. Looked slow.
One of my favorite defensemen.
Pirelli, who I liked when they were winning Stanley Cups, was a non-factor, period. Okay. Yeah. The left winger, other than Hagel, I think is it Gensel? Who is it that they have there?
Gensel. Well, Gensel plays center for them.
He was a non-factor, period.
Point wasn't good.
Okay. Yeah. These
Kucherov
guys,
hasn't scored in a game
all
7.
Older now. They're all older in Tampa now. And they've had that's a long run and playing long series up till this year. You know what I mean? You're getting old. They're getting old in Tampa. The only guy that played up to his potential was Hagel. He played great for them. But other than that, I don't think anybody else played up to their potential because I think age is catching up with the Tampa team.
Tampa Bay is in a very delicate situation, and I call it.
I try to tell you guys that all year, that they're going nowhere. And you know what? You can say it was one goal here, one goal. All I know is they're done in the first round. Period.
Again. Just say it again.
They're old.
Warriors.
But I did pick Montreal to have a great season.
You did.
But listen.
I couldn't pick Montreal.
You hate Montreal. But Ron Greschner knew better.
That's for sure.
Ron Greschner's picked Montreal also. But I call it the New York Yankees syndrome. I think a lot of teams in the NHL, Pittsburgh, Tampa. You remember when the Yankees had an aging Pettit, Clemens, Posada, Bernie Williams were all just getting old, Derek Jeter at the same time, and they refused to get rid of any of those pieces, and it just took the franchise down because they didn't want to get rid of what they considered their franchise legends. Tampa, I thought, was going to break away from that with the Stamkos deal, but obviously they just, they let him go, and it was for the better for Nashville. He's been great this year in Nashville. But Tampa really is at a crossroads where they got to make some serious decisions because their franchise is getting ancient really fast.
Yeah, they're old.
And so is Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. They're old. No question about it. Dallas, outside of a couple guys you're talking, they've got about 6 or 8 guys on that team that have been around for a long time, on the cusp of winning a Stanley Cup and haven't yet.
I'm going to make one more trade prediction that's going to get Maddie fired up. I think Bobrovsky is going to end up as an Edmonton Oiler this offseason.
I mean, not a bad take.
I just really think he's the guy
money?
that Edmonton's going to go to.
Really?
I mean, if he takes a discount, I don't think they have the money to pay him $10 million a year like he's been making. I don't think he's worth $10 million a year.
I don't think he's worth $10 million in a year, but also he's a guy that can make a difference there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not concerned with the regular season. Like, there's a lot of teams that are like Carolina. I thought was always a regular season team. Now, they have the benefit of playing, which we can talk about the playoff format if we want. They played the 6th seed, and then the 7th and 8th seed played each other, and they're playing the 8th seed right now. So Carolina, their path to the conference finals was 6, 7, or 8. They had to play 2 of those 3 teams. And then you look at the other side of the bracket, it's 2, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, but that's not really the question. I mean, I don't know. I think Edmonton's a team that with McDavid and with Draisaitl, you're going to make the playoffs because day in, day out, their talent is better than when you play a team on a back-to-back, when you play a team who's on their 8th or ninth defenseman. Those guys are going to put up points no matter what. They're hard enough to stop as is. So Edmonton's always going to make the playoffs. You get a guy like Bobrovsky, all of a sudden now, hey, I think, he could still win a game, a series, and that's all Edmonton needs. Just win one game, and that's steal us a game. Give us a game where we shouldn't have won. That's what goaltenders need to do. You look at Igor Shesterkin, right? You can't tell me if the Rangers were playing the Penguins or the Flyers. The Ranger team that finished the last 20 games of the season, they wouldn't have had at least a shot against Pittsburgh or Philly. The way they were playing with Igor Shesterkin, you could play shutdown, give up 1 or 2 goals a game.
Just on goaltending alone.
Yeah, just on goaltending alone. You guys know how this game works.
Goaltending wins playoffs, guys. Wins Stanley Cup. That's all there is to it.
Simple as that.
Goaltending and defense. That's what you said.
The one thing I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys are more hip to it throughout the year, what I'm noticing, there's only 2 teams right now that are left in the playoffs that are basically relying on middle-aged, upper-aged stars. That's Colorado and Vegas. All the rest of the teams that are in are relying on their youth guys from 2 years into the league to 5 years into the league and have the right amount of veteran leadership to complement them. That's what I'm noticing. Going with your Anaheims, okay? Going with Montreal. You just look at even Philly. Look at some of the young guys they added. I'll tell you, there's a guy in Philly I'd like to see the Rangers have, and I know you probably disagree with me. I'd like that Drysdale as a defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
He's a puck mover. He plays good defense. You know what I mean? I know they got bigger names there in Sealer and Sanheim, but I like the way Drysdale's playing.
Yeah,
okay?
I agree.
And he's a young guy.
And
you got all these other young guys contributing in Philly. Anaheim's got like studs there in the middle of that pack.
Yeah,
and you talk about San Jose, my God, they probably have the best youthful group of players in the league right now.
And it's getting better.
Are as important
it's
as
only getting better
on their team.
Kati, do you think I'm rooting for Buffalo to beat Montreal, but I have Montreal winning the series. Do you think Montreal or Carolina can beat Colorado? Because I think Colorado's going to walk through the rest of the West.
Listen, if Colorado's on, if they're on their game, I don't think anybody beats them.
Don't discount Vegas.
They're too. Vegas looks slow to me still. Okay, I warned you about them. They were lucky to get past your boys, Utah. Okay, think about it. Vegas
I'll tell you this,
but
I do not.
I will give Vegas props because they're tried and true. You know what I mean? There's a lot of old guys on that team, been there, done that.
I do not trust Carter Hart in a big game. Sorry. I'm not a Carter Hart fan at all. I don't think he's that great.
I just think Colorado, the way Colorado's playing right now, if they are on their game, you got no chance. But if they slip a little bit, you got a chance.
Is anybody else shocked at the goaltending decision in Carolina so far? Because I had no idea that they were going to go with Anderson over. It just shocked me, and he's playing lights out. I mean, it looks like Brind'Amour made a great decision, but was anybody else shocked that he was named the starter?
Not really, because that team does the same thing every year, Ricky. They play a very blanket type defense. They smother the shit out of you. You got no room in the neutral zone. They're on you. That fourth line of theirs, they're on you in the other your zone, banging you around, grinding you down. And their defense may not have a super stud, but they're all threes. You know what I mean? They're not a number one or number two, but they're all threes. And that's pretty good pairing, Ricky. You know, Slavin, these guys are good. And they know how to play defense. That's one thing Brind'Amour, I played against Brind'Amour when he first started. That's one thing that he did his whole career. He wasn't worried about scoring and stuff like that. He plays defense first. And I can remember them playing the Rangers for years. Like going, they do the same shit every game. They play the same way every game, Ricky. It's like one big, when they get a lead, and that's it. You're
It
done.
clamps down.
We're going to put a big blanket over you. You're not going to be able to get out of it.
He's I would say Rod Brittenmore is more of a modern day Tortorella, not necessarily being a hard nosed kind of guy. He is tough, but he's a player's coach more or less. I think more of the line of like when you get a lead with Carolina, they just clamp down on you. They're blocking shots, and I mean, you guys gonna roll your eyes. There's that guy, Keandre Miller. First of all, I want to say shout out to Keandre Miller. He just had a boy. He just had a kid. So God bless him. You know,
and he made a big block the other night there, Ricky. He saved the
and he made a great defensive play. And I have said to you guys time and time again that Keandre Miller would do fantastic in Carolina.
He did not do fantastic this year.
Okay, Ricky.
Maddie, let me ask you a question.
He's playing 22
Maddie,
minutes
I'm going to
a night.
argue with you tonight.
22 minutes a night doesn't mean you're playing bad.
Maddie, you fucking say every week that the system in Carolina, you just got done saying the team smothers you.
Yeah,
he does not stand out. He's part of a good – and I'm going to give you a reference, and I hope you get it. He's a Ken Danico on the Canes. The same thing with the Devils. Ken Danico was a fucking guy who didn't take shit from anybody, didn't back down, wasn't the most talented guy in the league, but he was paired with great defensemen all the time. He was in a system where they played the trap, and it made him look like a Hall of Fame defenseman, and he wasn't. Keandre Miller does not stand out anywhere else. He's exposed in situations, more on one-on-one situations, than anybody I've ever seen come in this league and get praise from people like you, okay? And I don't care. You have your opinion, and I'm not saying your opinion's wrong. I'm telling you my opinion. You way overrate him. You poke me with him like you did with Igor all fucking year, and to Igor, shut your mouth with that too, okay? Henrik Lundqvist is your boy, and Keandre Miller, I don't know if you just got a crush on him or what, but this fucking guy is not a standout fucking defenseman. He's an average NHL defenseman who's playing in a great system. And that's it. And he did not have a great system in New York. I will give him credit. He did not surround himself.
There's no pressure on him in Carolina.
Because he's not expected to be a
second
star.
Pair defenseman.
He's not expected to be a star. There's no pressure on him is right because he couldn't handle the fucking pressure of playing in New York. Plain and simple.
That part's true. But let me ask you guys this about Carolina.
Real quick, Rick, because
defend yourself, Matt. Go ahead.
Well, I want to real quick. I want to just dive in.
Hold on, let me mute his mic.
No. Because you're telling me he's he's got everything in Carolina, blah blah blah. He's having a better year this year in Carolina.
You're saying that, not me. You say that.
My turn.
But you're saying the system in Carolina is what's making that team great.
Two things can be true.
System. You're saying system. You're not saying individual players. You're saying system. That's the difference of what I'm saying.
He's played very well.
He's fit into a system.
He had a 40-point pace, and you know something too? Jacob Trouba, who was the other Ranger, if you remember those Eastern Conference Finals run, Jacob Trouba, Keandre Miller, that was your second pair. Jacob Trouba had a fantastic year in Anaheim, too. Nobody really talked about that.
Because he was no longer saddled with Keandre Miller's mistakes.
So they both had a good year, huh? They both had a good year.
I never wanted Trouba gone.
We got rid of both of them.
Let me interrupt you guys.
But I never wanted Trouba gone. Trouba was not the problem here. Drury made him a problem here. That guy had more balls in that locker room and did more to fire up a fucking team than anybody in the last 15 years on this team.
Let me ask you, Ricky, watching Carolina right now, as well as they're playing, is Sebastian Aho doing anything?
He's been okay. He's been pretty good.
Listen, he's supposed to be the big gun on that team. Right now, it's Stankoven, Blake, and Hall. That Stankoven's unbelievable.
Hey, who won the Rantanen trade at this point? Because you mean that basically three-way trade where Colorado sent him to Carolina and Dallas.
I've never been impressed with Rantanen, to be honest with you.
Dallas might have lost that.
He's great when he wants to be, but he doesn't play every game. Okay, but
+7 on the year. That's all he was. +7 on a great shutdown team.
All I know is right now is Carolina's doing it, and Aho's not stepping up right now. So they
act like that's bad. +7. Kotze, if you were +7, you'd be happy about that, right?
What, in the playoffs?
Yeah, in general.
No, for the season, he was +7.
Listen,
okay, you'd be happy with that.
If I was -7 in the playoffs.
I'm just saying. See?
Let me tell you about Keandre Miller, and this is this goes back to Paulie and I when he first came to the Rangers. When you guys are always looking up prospects. Well, I looked him up when they drafted him. I saw a video of him plowing guys in college with body checks.
Yeah, okay? He crushed people.
I saw that. I was like, wow, we're going to get a hard-hitting, great skater. He's a great skater. Nobody's going to deny that. He's probably a better than average puck handler.
Yes.
And he's got size.
6'5".
But he plays small.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Really, really small. He doesn't play with any viciousness at all. Okay. I'll go on record right now, and I said it probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. If this guy had a mean streak, he could be a Norris Trophy winner. But he doesn't have it. That's why nobody gives him space. That's why nobody cares, and they run him through the boards. Okay? Because he has no retaliation out of him whatsoever.
They just spit on you.
That's a big negative when you got all the tools in the world and yet you don't have that mean streak.
Listen, he's got first pair skill. He's got third pair, I guess, motor. And in reality, he's going to play on the second pair, and he's getting pretty good. There's nights where you look at K'Andre Miller and you're like, whoa, this guy could be a top pair defenseman. Well, there's nights where like, why is he not in the AHL?
Getting out of New York is probably the best thing to happen to him.
I agree, 100%. Absolutely.
So you're admitting he couldn't handle New York?
I never said he could.
No, I'm just making a point. You agree he couldn't handle New York?
No.
Once the whole spitting incident happened, he was just not mentally here.
Maddie, let me ask you a question, right? I end up being sincere. You think I'm picking on you. You know I fucking love you to death.
No, I know.
Here's what I'm going to ask you. We're in a bar, and two guys have you in the corner, face rubbing you and throwing you up against the fucking wall. And if I come over and I spit on a guy instead of punch him in the face, do you lose all respect for me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as a teammate, how do you respect the fucking guy who didn't protect you on the ice multiple times? I'll never forget this. Nassau Coliseum, Rangers Islanders, Trocheck got his knee taken out. K'Andre Miller turned and pointed to the referee, and Lafreniere dropped his gloves his rookie season and got in a fight. K'Andre Miller, who's 5 inches bigger and 30 pounds heavier, pointed like a little bitch to the referee, and Lafreniere showed his balls and dropped his gloves. Say what you want. I don't like him. And I'm picking on you because I don't like him, and it's not you. It's not personal. I think he's a coward. I think he played in a system, and he was only a plus, whatever I just said, +7. And he's not good.
You want to know what that is? And you guys can cry all you want about it. It's not. He doesn't have the instinct. Why? Because he played in college. Okay.
He also was a forward.
The Canadian players have that instinct, whether you want to hear it or not. They have that instinct, Rick.
Kotze, I wish I was born in Canada. How about that?
Built in up there. The way you play hockey up there. It doesn't matter if you're not a fighter or not. When something happens, you get involved. A lot of guys come from college. They've never fought in their life. Like Boyle. Remember Boyle, Rangers? He was a 22nd pick overall. He was a monster. I felt bad for him. You know why? He never had a fight in his life till he got to the NHL.
Yep.
For a guy his size, he should have been destroying people.
Hey, listen.
He was up by guys 30 pounds lighter and 4 inches smaller.
Kotze, I think you played with him, right? You played with Kelly Chase, right?
I didn't play with him, though.
Oh, he wasn't in Hartford with you at all?
No,
okay.
No. He came after me. We went through this last week. He came way after
I'm a huge Kelly Chase fan my whole life, one of my favorite players, but I love his podcast, right? And if you listen to the stories about these guys, and I'm just reinforcing your point, but 12, 13-year-old kids getting in brawls, fights every 3 games. The difference is, and you just nailed it, Canadian hockey players are born to play hockey. American kids are pampered little bitches who rich kids are playing hockey. You can't afford to play hockey in the ghetto. I'm sorry. It's just a proven fact. You're missing out on a lot of athletes in the United States who are good enough, but they can't afford to play. Where in Canada, they're bred to play. And there's a big difference, and it's always been that way for many years. As a kid, you would always say, wow, that kid from America, Matt, and I'm just saying because I'm older, and I could be your dad. But when I was younger, it was always, that American kid actually could make it in the NHL. That's what they used to say about stuff like that. They used to be like, or that American kid, Cam Jansen's was one of the first American kids who went up to junior, and he had to fight every single day because they tested him every single game 3 times because he was an American. Now this doesn't happen anymore. These kids, and listen, Keandre Miller, when we took him, I was so pumped up for him. 6'5".
We traded up for him.
He could fly. Then they went out and then some ignorant Ranger fan disgraced that poor kid. And I'll be honest with you, nobody talks about it. I think that incident scarred him for the rest of his life on being a New York Ranger. You remember when his press conference got hacked and that racial slur came up and it was left on the screen for like 30 seconds? That was horrific. That was horrible. It was dumb. And whoever did it should rot. But I also think that maybe, just maybe, that destroyed his chances of succeeding in New York. But that also doesn't replace the fact that Kati just said it. He never had the instinct to be a tough guy or want to play with any kind of edge.
And he never learned.
He could have been Chris Pronger.
He never learned that part of the game to get respect from the other player. You can see that in the playoffs. So who gets the respect out there? John, number 17 from Montreal, he gets a lot of respect, don't he? Like, you don't see people trying to run him. I can go through the who's in the league right now that people don't go running at because they're going to get it back. Ricky, you talk about like fighting. I played Tyke. You know how old I was in Tyke? I was 6 years old.
I was going to say 6 or 7, right?
I played minor Adam, and then I played Adam. Okay, so I'm still 7 years of age. By the time I was 8 years old, I got in my first fight in Pee Wee. Let me tell you something. I got beat. I got beat by some guy that should never beat me because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
But he was 23 years old.
But I was 8 years old and getting into a rock'em sock'em swinging fight. Yeah, Stevie Durbano. I watched him play too.
I'm just saying, Kati, I know a thing about fighting an aggressive hockey player.
Did he make the league too, Kati, or no?
Who's that? Durbano?
The guy who fought you.
The guy who fought you?
No.
No, the Greek Mafia killed him 15 minutes after he hit Kati. He was dead in the parking lot.
I learned from that time on that it's part of the game and it's part of Canadians' instinct back then. It's not so much anymore because they banned it in some leagues up to a certain age and stuff like that. And that's the other thing, too. No hitting from – when you're playing in America and in Canada now, Ricky, at a young age, you can't hit anybody 3 feet from the boards.
I know.
So when you get to the NHL, what do you think happens? Guys get drilled all the time now, regardless of the rules. They don't know how to react to this shit.
Well, the stop sign's on the back, you know.
Yeah, no.
Maddie, we made a bet earlier in the year. It was something, and I know you owe me a jersey over it, and I forgot what it was, but it had something to do with Utah winning the Stanley Cup or getting to the conference final.
No such thing.
There was a bet made.
Okay.
I got to find the bet. We got to go back.
Utah is not going to make the playoffs. I said not only could they make the playoffs, they could win a round. And everyone
you said the cup.
Like I said, they could win the Stanley Cup. And they didn't win a round, but they made the playoffs, and all of you guys were like, they won't make the playoffs. Well, I was right about something. All right?
No, the best thing you said all year, and I got to give you credit, you said Toronto was missing the playoffs the first week of the season. You did say that, 100%.
He was right.
And now they have the number 1 overall pick.
You know what? We were all right on a lot of things. I told you about Tampa, and you were hardcore on Tampa, Matty.
I liked them.
Throughout the year.
I liked them. You know, and
but you know what? You owe him a sweater. Just tell him like the mailman, checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Maddie, second round. Give the predictions right now. Maddie, the stat. What's going to happen?
Well, looks like Carolina. I don't think they'll get the brooms out in Philadelphia. I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep in 5. Buffalo and Montreal is interesting. I think that's going to be a war. I think it's going 7. I think I'm going to lean Buffalo on that. I want to pick Montreal. I really do. But I'm going to lean Buffalo on it. I think a 7-game series. Colorado, it looks like they might sweep Minnesota. But again, I'm going to go 5. I'm going to give Minnesota a game. And I like Vegas over Anaheim in 6. So I got Carolina in 5, Buffalo in 7. I got Vegas in 6 and Colorado in 5.
Can I tell you one thing, Maddie, and it's going to make you laugh really hard right now. So the NHL does the bracket. Did you do a bracket for the NHL.com?
No, thank God I didn't, because it would be destroyed.
All right, so I have Carolina winning the Stanley Cup, and I have Keandre Miller scoring the game-winning goal to win the whole thing. So
after all that chat.
But you know why I did it? Because I know if it happens, you'll be able to throw it in my face for the rest of my eternity. So that's why I
can
put
make money on it. Yeah,
Yeah. Kotze, second round. Who do you got?
Buffalo, Carolina, Colorado, obviously. And I'm going to go with Anaheim only because it's Joel Quenneville. I'm giving up one. How's that?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Still hold on to that Vegas is crap thing. Okay.
I'm taking Anaheim, Colorado, Carolina, and only because I said in the beginning of the year, first week on this show, that Montreal would go to the conference final. I'm taking Montreal, but I am rooting for Buffalo.
Same character will be a big addition there.
As much as I hate Montreal as a history organization, I can't hate the players because that's where they are. Montreal built their team right too, Ricky. They're like Buffalo. They built it right, big, and their star players, if they're small, they're good.
Their AHL team in Laval is also really big.
But they built it right. You know, Jeff Gordon.
All right. Anybody got anything else you want to hit this week? Maddie, what else you got this week before we start wrapping it up?
No, I want to.
No questions on the TikTok?
No questions on the TikTok right now. TikTok's kind of quiet right now, but
everybody's watching hockey.
Yeah, or you know, the playoff hockey is going on. I just feel like these playoff series. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're either really good or really bad. There's no in between. Like I'm really into a series, or I'm just like, wow. Like Philly and Carolina, I can't get into. I mean, I mentioned earlier the playoff bracket. I mean, how you can have the discrepancy on one side of a bracket, right? And all the differences you could have of these playoff matchups. You know, if we did 1 through 8, the 8 first round series, right? If you did 1 through 8, East and West, you'd only have one series that you'd get that actually happened. The other 7 would be different, you know? And I mean, I can't help but say I think the playoff format is a joke.
Mike
I think it
Rupp
screws.
Called it out also on NHL Network.
Yeah, I think it just
has to go back to 1
I
through
mean,
8.
look, like Carolina is a great team. Don't get me wrong. Okay, they played. If you did 1 through 8 in the East, they played 6-seeded Ottawa, and then 7 and 8 played each other in the first round. And Philly being number 8, and I'm basing this off of regular season points, not winning a spot in the division.
Right.
But
absolutely.
But Philly, you know, would one of the 7 or 8 seed is going to the second round. I mean, come on.
Big Sexy.
That's you, Kotze. That's your new name.
I look like a little bit. Listen, as a former player that played in the dinosaur age, like everybody calls it, the NHL has had a problem since Gary Bettman's been in the league. Okay, they just keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Okay, the playoff seeding is absolutely horseshit. It still should be 1 through 16. No arguments. Period. You should get rewarded for being the best team during the regular season to play the shittiest team during the regular season. Okay, that's the way it should be. Now I'm going to get to the draft. This ping pong ball shit is just stupid too. Okay, it's the dumbest thing on earth. You're telling me that a team that finished dead last can possibly not get a first round pick, the first pick overall?
That's out of the top 5. How about that?
That's what I'm talking about. Why can't it? Who cares if teams tank? You don't think Pittsburgh tanked when they got Mario Lemieux? I was in Hartford.
100% they did.
I was in Hartford at the time thinking, okay, we got a shot at Lemieux. No, Pittsburgh ended up losing the last 2 weeks, and we ended up being ahead of them.
Well, what did they lose? Something like 14 out of the last 16. Yeah, and the Devils lost. The Devils blew it because they won 2 games the last week.
To reinvent the game that was great all along. It's been that way since they invented it. You shoot, you score, you win. Okay? You draft according to your record. Period. You play the playoffs according to your record. Period. And the last thing I want to do is about the playoffs, they got to get to the point where there's got to be a grade. I say a 7 and up is deserving of a slash, not a 7 and below. Okay? A clutch real quick and let go should not be called. the degree of difficulty on the penalties is what's making me nuts about the playoffs right now. Some of them are just so bad that they don't even rank a 0 on my scale. Okay? They got to get back to where you're going to call a guy for slashing, make sure he fucking slashes him and slashes him good. You're going to give him a cross-checking penalty? Make sure the guy goes head first to the ground or into the fucking boards.
Kotze, what do you think about one
garbage crap? It's ruining the game. It's ruining the players out there because one shift they can do it, the next shift they can't. There's no consistency. When I played, I knew what you could do, to what extent. Okay? And I used to have guys, the referees say to me, Chris, I'm going to call you next time you do that. And I knew. I knew from therein.
Well, what do you think about my theory that players aren't ready for the playoffs on younger guys in the NHL are not ready for the playoffs because of the difference in refereeing? What they're getting called for or against them, like, in other words, so if you're going in front of the net in the regular season, you're not getting hit, you're not getting high stick, you're not getting cross-checked. The minute the playoffs start, I'm just using a name out of my butthole, but let's say Otherman, Calgary makes the playoffs. That kid's not ready for playoff hockey in his second year in the NHL, going up and getting cross-checked in his back, speared, punched in the face, and everything else. And that's a league-wide problem because guys getting to the playoffs for the first or second time aren't ready for playoff hockey. It's a different game.
Well, it's totally different, but it's also why change the refereeing part of it?
That's what I'm saying. They either do it all year long or just get rid of it.
No, but I personally want the referee. If you're going to call it tight, call it from the drop of the puck. And do not change the rest of the game. I don't give a shit if you're on the road and the home crowd hates your guts as a referee. Okay?
100%.
Do not change throughout the whole game. But don't start the game calling it tight, and then all of a sudden, well, now it's 3 minutes to go, and the other team's trying to tie it up, so we're going to let a lot of go now. That's not right either. That's not right either.
I mean, you see this a lot in basketball, too, like the officiating. I'm watching the Knicks and Sixers right now, and I mean, you see sometimes the calls that get called. Now, basketball and hockey aren't exactly apples to apples, but you see some of the calls, and you're like, how is that a foul? How is that not a foul? So you get that with the NHL, too, with the penalties and whatnot. Do you think that has anything to do with the gambling? Like, trying to steer one team towards another? Like, because Kotze, was it like this when you played, where there was just, very inconsistent calls from the officials? I'm sure there's always something.
Not like it does today.
Now the one thing that is happening now is the gambling. So now we talk all the time how the over/under shots on goal. You see at the end of a period, it'll say a team has 20 shots after 2 periods. You'll see start of the third, it's down to 16. You know what I mean? So they can tinker with all that kind of crap. I mean, do you think that's part of the issue? I mean, I don't know. I can't say one way or the other.
To me, I want the degree to be higher to make these calls. I want it to be like it was in my day when I could break a stick over your hand like I did to Dave Kristoff in Minnesota and not get a fucking penalty. I didn't get a penalty on it.
Let him know you're there.
I got lucky. Okay, I broke my stick over his hand on a breakaway. I two-handed chopped him. Broke. No penalty. I just want to know how the game as a player is going to be called from the get-go. If you're gonna let everything go, you got to let everything go all the way. And
we got 1 minute, Kotze.
And that means it even in overtime. But you can't change the game, go back and forth with the way you're making calls. It screws the players, and the fans can't take it.
I got one last question. We got a minute. I'll give you guys each 15 seconds. NHL playoffs, 1 through 7. Number 1 gets a bye. What do you think about that?
No.
How do you do that?
No.
1 through 6? Oh, you mean 14 teams? So like the NFL, 14 teams.
No. I like 1 through 16.
Let everybody play.
Okay. Just asking. I just was wondering if you win.
That's the fair way to do it. If you're a team,
what's next? You're going to do the NBA play-in?
No. I was just asking if you win.
That's a carnival act. The play-in game, really?
If you win the conference on each side, do you deserve a bye? Was what I was asking.
No.
Okay, I agree.
I'll be honest with you. Now that I think of it, you're better off with that than the crap they got now.
I agree.
Carolina's going to walk to the Stanley Cup, and Maddie described it perfectly. Although, Maddie, you did say somebody in the West also was Edmonton. You said had a clear walk to the Cup. Also,
They
No,
did.
I said that side of the bracket.
yeah, I'm saying I was just saying.
I said that's what that side of the bracket. I said everyone was counting out Edmonton. Edmonton still got eliminated. They had to face Anaheim and then either Utah or Vegas, which weren't world beaters. Now Vegas is a lot better under Tortorella now, but I mean, come on, like the way the bracket's set up. I mean, the other side of the bracket being Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas, crazy, you know.
Not fair. All right, guys, listen, that's it for this week. Next week, join us. We'll have probably 3/4 of the way into series in round number 2. We'll have possibly a couple trades. Let's see where it goes. Maddie, tell them where they can find you.
I'm at Ellipse94 on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Always posting, always updating. We'll have clips on the show coming up soon, too, as well.
Hockey World Order on YouTube. Ricky Otazu 16 on X, and Kotzi can be found in the cottage relaxing with his queen and on here every Wednesday night at 8:30. Other than that, don't bother him. Ladies and gentlemen, see you next week.
Good night, guys.